put up with this shit. Well, that might be good for the vlog.
Are we recording?
Yeah.
Yeah, just don't touch
so
something.
just
no one move.
Don't fucking touch anything.
We're live. We're live.
We're live.
We got technical issues. Our boy Rye Guy, Rye Sly,
My favorite
Fox,
slice of bread.
White Rye,
White rye.
Ryan Wheat, Nutty Bread, Nutty Ryan, Nutty Professor 3.
Then it's just gonna shut off. Boom.
We're having some technical difficulties. You know, it's 2018.
We call them performance issues. I'm sure everyone's experienced some
We
of
call
those.
them ED.
ED.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, this is a technical ED.
Everything dysfunction.
Well, I'm here just with a big jug of water. You guys
Don't
probably
move
can't
the
see if
table.
you're listening to it, but I just gotta stay hydrated. You know, 3 liters every day.
Are you a bodybuilder?
Wanna be. What makes someone a bodybuilder? Like honestly,
So that's a great conversation because powerlifting.
I got one answer. I got an idea. Fanny pack, but go on.
I wear a fanny pack. I'm not a bodybuilder.
You're more than a bodybuilder.
So I shout out to Mr. Embrystein, my English teacher in high school. We got a deep conversation. I don't know what it was, in some type of English history, maybe even a philosophy class.
Okay.
And I just remember him. He was really well spoken. And he
I'm picturing like the Dead Poets Society. By the way.
Show you a picture because I don't remember that movie, but it's like right like that. So he's
Okay.
staring dead at me. He's like, "If one skateboards, are they then a skater?"
Stared in your soul as you said that.
Yeah, and I was like, "Fuck."
As a 14-year-old,
You right, bro.
and that's when you responded back. You're like, if you suck one dick,
Are you a dick sucker?
he's like, and you're expelled. You're like, sick, bro, sick.
So I don't know because are you?
Is it in your heart or is it in your body?
Or is it on the competition floor? Do you have to step on the platform to be a power lifter? I think some of these meatheads, hardcore lifters will say yes. For me, I think if you're in the pursuit of squat, bench, deadlift, you're a power lifter. Who cares?
Yeah.
You can't categorize me, bro.
I think you can't put a label on me. I will say that a lot of top powerlifters that I've spoken to, when they talk about the concept of a powerlifter, in their head, it's someone who trains for strength. You don't necessarily have to compete. And I think we talked about this before, it's always kind of that middle tier of individuals. So as a beginner, and Bruce Lee talked about this, as a beginner, you have maybe your preconceived notions. You enter it, you maybe have a little bit more of an open mind because you haven't accomplished it. And you know that. You know you suck. Like when I first started lifting, I was listening, I was reading everything. We were on T Nation, just trying to absorb all that knowledge. The guy that was bigger in the gym, he's like, do 10 sets of 10. I'm like, all right, bro, I'll do 10 sets of 10. And then there's that middle point where people achieve some level of success. So they went from whatever, let's say a 200-pound deadlift to a 600-pound deadlift. And now they think they could talk like they know everything. That person is Omar Isov, is myself right here.
No, but those people, they're not aware of how high the ceiling is or how expert some people actually are.
Yeah.
So you think you know or you think you got to figure it out. But then you go, if you last long enough in the sport or as a coach and you go another 3-5 years from that spot, then you start to open your mind again and realize that there's golden nuggets that you can learn from everybody. And that goes for everything. I first felt this or saw this and experienced this in basketball, where it's the same thing. I was like, freshman in basketball, I had a really high basketball IQ, which is more common phrase. We should talk about powerlifting IQ, even though people don't talk about it. But everyone, I think, understands what it is, right? Understanding the game, the movement, the plays, and being in the situation, when to call a timeout, etc. Where powerlifting, people talk about, programming knowledge or technicality knowledge, but there's just a powerlifting IQ you do or do not have or maybe can grow. But I had a really high basketball IQ in 8th grade, and I thought I knew everything. But it wasn't until I was probably 23, 6 years more competitive basketball at a high level, and 3 years coaching.
Wait, how old were you in grade 8? Because you said 6 years. I thought you would be 13 in grade 6 or 12.
I don't know, but
so
probably
that'd be 19.
Yeah, and then
how many years were you in grade 8 is what I want to know, is what I'm saying.
So I did 2 years of kindergarten.
4 years
but
as senior.
But every other year was only 1 year.
Yeah.
What I guess the numbers I tried to whip up were when I stopped playing college basketball.
And that makes complete sense. You also said last long enough. I'm just wondering if this episode is going to be the ED show,
Oh, yeah. This whole thing's about lasting longer.
Yeah, we're sponsored by Viagra.
Magnums.
Magnum.
Mini
a couple
Magnums.
different things.
I got mini Magnums just so the Magnum name's on there, so it really impresses everybody, but...
I'm sticking with the Magnums. I was going to say, Mike, but you said about, powerlifting IQ and lifting in general. I think Bruce Lee, he tried to explain it 3 steps to mastery, which really resonated with me. And the first is basically, once again, you come into something, so some sort of discipline, you want to get stronger, you want to get bigger. For those that practice martial arts, you come in with some preconceived notions. So you're like, okay, I have a certain form. Or if you play music or anything, you play an instrument, you have some sort of form naturally inherent within you. And then basically throughout a process, the second step is to try and learn about the form. So learn about the instrument, learn about lifting. So to try and fill your mind
history.
Yeah, with knowledge, try and become better. And so that's a state of flux because you're kind of conflicted between what you know intuitively and what you're being told. And then the third stage is the effortless mastery, which is going back to that autopilot self. But now you have all that knowledge of the second phase. So when you're back in that flow state, it actually is the correct path.
Yeah, I think I've only experienced it once. I was on a podcast a couple months ago and we started talking about flow and flow state.
It wasn't this podcast?
No, it was on somebody else's.
Oh, God, no.
I was the guest, I guess. But yeah, talking about flow state, and I was really trying to think, like, there's very few times I've been into flow because people talk about in a powerlifting meet or competition, like I never really got it. Or in the gym, maybe here and there where everything's clicking and I'm just kind of zoned in. But that's even rare. It was more towards the last 3, 4, 5 years of my basketball career where I was a master and I was in the NBA, but I had a high level of skill with the ball, and then shit would just happen. And time's moving fast, time's moving slow. I know writers talk about it a lot where 100%. They just sat down, they sipped a coffee, and then all of a sudden they have 10 pages written on their thing. Like, I've never had that. Podcast maybe a little bit when I'm really in the flow of whipping out content and words are... I'm whipping it out, my ED, and I feel I already kind of know what you're about to say based on what I'm going to say, and then I know my response. I can feel the flow of the conversation and the words that I want to, the lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue, what are about to come. I have words lined up on my tongue. I have a Kiss tongue. What's the lead singer?
Gene Simmons, bro.
I got a Gene Simmons tongue, and there's words all the way back to the front, and I can see them coming up the revolving tongue, and that's what
I'm getting nervous, bro. I'm getting scared.
Next conversation.
I was going to say, you know what we call that, though? What the word for that is?
Flow.
Chemistry. No, I mean, between us, when you said you could predict what I'm going to say, I could get a sense of what you're going to say. I think for some people...
Are you saying we have chemistry?
Bro, chemistry of the highest order. I think for some people, because there's a difference between the video content that we upload, the podcast people see, and then the audio, is that because we have a flow, it's a banter back and forth. And some people, maybe they weren't used to this growing up. I'm sure we both played a lot of sports. We hung out with a lot of boys, a lot of guys.
Yeah,
and
on Saturdays.
And it's natural on a Saturday night. Just when you talk, you're shooting the shit back and forth, right? And so there are some interruptions. There's this, there's that. Maybe some people came in with the preconceived notion it's going to be more like an interview, whereas a formal, like, so tell us about yourself, right?
And then I talk and then you talk.
Yeah, this is a casual conversation where we banter back and forth on a variety of different topics.
Yeah.
Speaking of ED.
Can I go back into the podcast talk before we head
in? No, yeah, dude.
So, so going on the podcast talk, one reason I've loved podcasting, you guys know I was on a podcast for 3 years.
Is because the mic's so close to your mouth.
I like big black things near and around my oral mouth, oral fixation.
Oral mouth.
Look, bro, I'm not always in the flow state. I know I was talking about my gift of gab up. It's up and down. But one thing I was really excited to do with Omar is, yes, our bro chemistry. But two is that Omar's one of the best, if not the best, at putting out informational, concise information, taking complex ideas and breaking them down for everybody to understand on YouTube, but it's solely fitness and nutrition based. I was excited for you guys to get to know the Omar I know. And
which
so
is
that's
who?
The devil.
The devil, wow.
So that's why...
Else, is that accurate? Very accurate.
So that's why in this podcast, like we said, I think on YouTube, there's tons of different formats. There's talk shows, there's interviews, there's formal things. We do kind of a vlog, gym, informational stuff on YouTube. It's a little bit more formal than this. And then on podcasts, don't quote me, I'm simplifying things, but there's kind of two different types of podcasts where there's either a storytelling, which is almost more like an audio book, like a serial, or finding Simmons or Bill Simmons, whatever that is, which is awesome, even though we're crushing them on the charts.
What? Snoop Dogg, we after you.
Or kind of a conversational, buddy shooting the shit, maybe an interview, maybe topical, maybe ranting around. So for those that enjoy that, hopefully the comedic part, the informational part, just us talking about things that we like with people that we like and other topics. This is for you. Subscribe.
Yeah.
And we're hopping in.
We'll be able to also, for you, expand potentially your horizon, where we're trying to show more of our 3D selves, right? And what I'd say when it comes to that, some people, when we first started, when we first announced it, and that's why we call it Mama's Boys. If we wanted to make it a fitness-oriented podcast, it'd be something fitness-oriented.
We try so hard, but never get there. That would be our fitness type.
Yeah, there you go. Average.
Yeah.
Average.
Average of the averages.
Insanely average, the podcast. And so for us, I've made now, I got to take a look at the amount. It's at least 500 videos, probably 800 videos, informative videos. And so some people were under the impression that this podcast would be a companion piece to that. But I've already done so many videos, and I prefer, we're going to have Dr. Brad Schoenfeld on the podcast, and he's definitely going to talk Some fitness, absolutely. But he also has a whole series we've done together. And I'm more curious what makes the man, what he's thinking about, other things that he's potentially passionate about. Same with us. And so for me, I do find it hard to vlog, right? Just because sticking the camera in my face is not natural to show my day because I think it's boring. If I think it's boring, I'm like, is anybody going to find this entertaining? I'm like, what's the utility of this? But I think having good, genuine conversations like this can really elevate the conversation of, you know, what we're talking about as a whole. So we talk about fitness on our YouTube channel. On the podcast, we talk about a variety of different things.
Brad Schoenfeld's a good example where if you want to learn more about Brad Schoenfeld, who has amazing information, is crazy intelligent, has been in this game forever, you Google his name and you can read a bunch of his articles. We don't want to give you an audio version of his articles. We want to let you know about the human that creates those articles.
The jazz phenom.
And what else he's into.
Exactly. Hey, I want to go back to ED, though, because that's the subject of today.
Because that's what we both have?
Sorry. Well, we're talking about aging, bro. I'm talking about it just because I could say from
you feel like you're getting there.
I was going to say, I actually feel great so far. That's what I want to hear your opinion. We're both in our 20s. And I was going to say, I started my YouTube channel, I think it was 2009 was the first ever video. So that's 9 years, right? I was a young YOLO, just like a teenager, not knowing what I'm doing. I want to know from that point, let's say the last decade, a lot of people I see comments on either our YouTube or just in general, they talk about fitness, but there's other aspects of aging, right? How they feel like they're slowing down. Do you feel like you're slowing down?
I don't. I joke a lot about, I'm old. I say that almost because just the thrashing I put my body through, you know, almost 15 years of basketball, some competitive nature year round. Obviously, when it's 4th, 5th grade, it's not as competitive, but I was still playing basically every day, either by myself or with someone, let alone once I hit high school, I played on the varsity, so it was highly competitive year round, plus weights for another, since I was 14, so another about 15 years or so, weights that overlapped to some extent. And then almost all of my 20s was almost purely heavy lifting. And so I talk about being old because I am a little beat up.
And you've been in the game longer than a lot of maybe our contemporaries, where there's a lot of young kids now. They see, they've watched maybe us or other people growing up. And so they're in their 20, 21. And so relative to them, we're older.
Or opposite. You know, there's a lot of people in their 30s and 40s that maybe watch some of our content and say, hey, man, like I kind of play some college football or high school football. Haven't done anything in 10 years. I want to get back in the gym. And so those guys maybe don't have the wear and tear either. But counter to that, I don't know how I would feel if I didn't do any of that. I might feel worse, right? If I didn't work out and I didn't do that and now I'm the age that I am, I might feel worse. It's hard to compare, obviously. Generally speaking, I feel great. I have looked at myself in the mirror and when I don't sleep as much or I'm a little stressed, I can see in my face like, fuck,
bro,
we're changing a little bit.
No, at nighttime, I've seen you because we're all sleeping in the same dude ranch hotel suite at the Westin. This is going to be uploaded by the time we're gone, so it's fine to say that.
It doesn't matter.
On the 15th floor.
Room 15.
The one that's making the most amount of noise, that was us.
Yeah, sorry.
But I was going to say, I've seen you where it gets later. And I think, so the first time we hung out in 2015 was the same thing where you had to go to bed earlier, so that's normal. But when you get tired, your eyes start just looking like droopy as fuck.
I start to look really old. And that's probably the only time I've looked at myself like, dang, where did this last 2 decades go? But besides that, like I think I look physically about the same in the face. The body, obviously, I've gained, whatever.
Body, you've improved. I was going to say that I feel for myself, I feel more energy because, and I'm going to give some of that hokey, like fake motivational bullshit now.
Give it to
the
me.
whole speech.
Tony Robbins.
When you're passionate about what you're doing, you're excited for the next day, then I think you have more energy. There are certain things that add value to your life or add energy and certain things that subtract. So negative relationships, just maybe negative individuals, a job that you don't like, maybe lifting's not going the way that you want. A lot of different stressors might be in your life and that's distracting you from doing what you want to do. I'll relate it back to this. I'll say when I first started lifting, when I was a teenager, before that period of time, I actually remember being really lethargic. And that was because I hadn't exercised. I had not done anything when it comes to sprinting. I used to do a lot of sprinting, none of that. And I just felt really tired all the time. And I was feeling, I would say old for my age, where I would just wake up and I just would feel like I had no energy. And then I remember finding the gym.
And finding Viagra.
Yeah, well, thank you, Viagra. We're going to mention Viagra 6 or 7 times in this video.
Just pray they send a check.
Yeah, they send a check.
I agree. It is hard to tell, kind of, because I've gone through different stages.
Gone and gone.
Guns and Roses, Guns and Roses.
As they say in South America, Guns and Roses, as they say. You wanted the best. Well, they didn't fucking make it. it. That should be the intro to our podcast.
Do it. Chop that up. Somebody clip that up. But because I've gone through different phases of college, working 3 jobs and college, just a job, now working for myself and different things, I do think that stress plays the largest role. And to not harp on, you and I've experienced too much, even though I do feel we're fairly experienced for our age, I've already gone through a phase of, like you said, 10 years or so, maybe 7 years of just reading everything strength and conditioning, everything performance that I could. And even over the last 2 or 3 years, my own mindset's changed, and some experiences in my life have helped change this in a negative way, but start to think about, oh shit, what am I going to feel like when I'm 40? Yep. What am I going to look like when I'm 50? What am I going to look like when I'm 60? Am I going to be able to jog or even deadlift?
I'll be dead by 40, but you know.
Yeah, living wild and fast.
Yeah.
But so those things have come to my head, and obviously research is here nor there on a lot of those things, kind of the typical stuff, right? Stay hydrated, eat well enough, keep a low enough body.
Why do you think I have a 3-liter jug in front of us right here?
It's supposed to be great for the skins.
Yeah.
Keep a low enough body fat percentage, some cardiovascular work, strength training for sure, showing benefits everywhere. Right? Alzheimer's is kind of the main thing. I guess on my dad's side, heart issues and things of that nature.
Yeah.
But it's hard to tell because I think my family that grew up in Ohio was kind of, some of them smoked, some of them drank, whatever. And then my dad was just slightly overweight. Not too bad. But then also for that, I think it's prescription drugs. They put him on some shit that I don't think he should have been on.
Yeah.
And I think that might have played a role in his passing away too early. Because he was fairly active compared to the average American. He refereed or started a basketball league and ran it for 10 years with me, and he refereed on it. So he's jogging up and down every weekend, but they threw him on some whatever fucking pill, and who knows what happened.
Absolutely. Complications from that.
Yeah. So those are the kind of things that pop in my head now, even though I'm not there, but I think we can pay attention.
I was just going to say, Mike, I think a lot of people, and we talk about this, so we just use that broad term fitness, but for us, health is really important. Like I remember you were telling me, and I feel the exact same way, because guess what? I have on my father's side, there's some heart disease and a lot of other things that I want nothing to do with, where some people were giving you shit, I know, on your Instagram story. I personally thought it was just you posting the exact same clip, because it looks like, obviously from the same angle, but you doing the salt bike for a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Just showing like 5 minutes. People were like, whoa, man, you're doing cardio, man. That's fucking stupid, bro. Like, are you kidding me? It's like, yeah, I want to protect my heart. I want to live as long as possible. Exercise, it should be enhancing my life. And I think that's the line that we draw in general with a lot of things that we pursue. It should be enhancing our life.
Yeah, 100%. I've talked about this many a time, but we all got in this for health and fitness, and the deeper you get into it, the less healthy and the less fit you become, because you become specialized. And that's not a knock on other people. If you really want to be an extreme or an elite weightlifter or powerlifter, power to you and go down that road. But somewhere in the back of your head, you have to have an end game or out, because you're not going to be that elite. And, because sometimes strength sports carrying a higher percent of body fat can help. It feels good.
Sure.
You get the extra calories to recover. Plus, you have a little.
But you're going to do that for 25 years?
Is it going to be there when you're 40 or not? And then same thing. The other side of my family has a bunch of Alzheimer's and stuff, and that's really scary because I grew up with it. My grandma had it. It's really ugly.
I'm going to start sending you some crossword puzzles, bro.
Yeah,
every day.
So my mom is really scared. It's on her end, and so she does a lot of Sudoku and she, little things like that. But,
that's so sweet.
But the biggest thing that I see is lifting weights. That's what I've seen, at least from the research. And so who knows where that goes or doesn't. But we're not saying don't lift weights and just be a cardio bunny. All we're saying is balance and maybe have the end goal.
Have the right mindset.
Yeah, and the goal doesn't have to be extra pounds. It could be longevity.
Yeah, and I was going to say that another thing I think they noticed too was maybe music, things that stimulate your brain and continue to stimulate. I know for Alzheimer, those that are afflicted with the disease, I think music can bring them back into a state where they remember certain things.
Yeah.
I got to give actually a shout out to one of the favorites. I watch it with my moms. That's why I'm a mama's boy. Grace and Frankie, the show. Lily Tomlin is fucking hilarious. I also like Jane Fonda. That show, though, they had their 4th season. Just talking about aging, I think there's also a concept. It's not just even from a biological perspective. So I'll put it this way. I do think genes play a heavy role in terms of how we look as we age and a lot of things, how we feel too. Like, I'm just making it up here, but someone could be 30 years old, but actually have the biological age of a 40-year-old, or the reverse, 30 years old, have the biological age of someone in their early 20s. And that's why some people live a lot longer, some people don't. But I think another concept that I'm interested in over time would be aging gracefully. And I think that show essentially is showcasing that, of these 2 ladies that are now independent. They are each other's best friends. They both recently got divorced, and they're aging gracefully, doing what they want. They actually started a business together in their 70s.
That's
and I
cool.
think and there's actually a lot of young people watching because it gives you hope. I think having, and God, I'm gonna throw the phrase out, Mike. I feel like Deepak Chopra right now, or Tony Robbins, where it's like a purpose-driven life.
Yeah.
But just having things to do that excite you constantly, I think that's what, if there's any secret, not to even living longer, but living better, so you feel better. You know, things don't start breaking down. That's the thing.
Yeah, I agree. I think you know, I've talked about a little bit anxiety and stuff I dealt with. We kind of joked about it in a different episode, but I do.
Oh, you were going through a little bit because we got kicked out by the cops.
And I don't know how to explain anxiety or explain my issues. I have many issue. I'm far from perfect. Anxiety is just one of the many of my fuck ups. But what I found is that, like you said, having a purpose or where you want to go or being where you want to be, and then finding hurdles, my anxiety turns to excited stress. And this is just me explaining it. These aren't real terms, but I get an excited stress when I come across a hurdle that I have to come across now, rather than in past. It would be anxiety, and it would all be one. Stress and anxiety and nervousness and fear would all be one thing, and I wouldn't know how to tackle it, and I wouldn't know how to let it dissipate. It would just sit on my neck forever. And that's why I have huge traps, is because I've been holding this anxiety for 20 some years.
This is all up there.
Yeah. But now, kind of living a purposeful life, or whatever cliche bullshit you guys want to say.
Now, thanks to Viagra.
Yeah, doing what I want to do, it feels like excited stress, where it's not always fun, but I know there's an end goal, and I know I'm kind of in control, and I kind of look at that worst case scenario. I was reading.
Go on.
Talk about anti-aging.
Ooh.
They took an old rat, maybe a mouse.
Got laid 10 times, and now he's feeling 10 times younger.
Maybe a mutant rat from New York that we saw the other day. It scared the shit out of me.
A biker mice from Mars. A biker mouse from Mars. Maybe it was
Master Splinter, for all I know.
Whew. The legend.
And a young, fertile mouse, rat, etc.
Female, I'm going to assume he's that first. You're like, could be guy, could be girl.
And they literally did some Frankenstein shit where they slit them open.
Okay.
Sewed their skin and veins together. So they basically did a natural blood transfusion.
Right.
And there was signs of anti-aging.
House is looking shocked.
In the older rat.
Really?
So what, I forgot the gentleman's name, but some entrepreneur, doctor, scientist.
The blood of the young.
What he started to do is, for $8,000, I believe it's in Los Angeles, $8,000, just one small time fee.
Yeah.
You can get a blood transfusion, I think more precisely plasma, of a younger person.
Blood of the virgin.
And I don't think it's, I don't think it's a 10-year-old. It must be 18.
Yeah,
it must be,
like an adult that's
it must be 18 to 25.
Exactly.
I don't know. I don't know. But they'll take their plasma and shove it in you. And they have, surveyed signs, not real science per se, anti-aging qualities in these people with more energy, more elastic skin, etc., more vitality.
So a few things, we can go into mythology. We only have to go into times past. Vlad the Impaler, I think it was his wife, would bathe in the blood of virgins, was the myth that went around. Like just murdered and would
just killed a bunch of people that didn't even have sex.
Oh no,
I feel like that's really wrong.
They were brutal back in the day. Yeah, before you're allowed to get your dick sucked or allowed to fuck, like you're just killed. It's like, well, man, you didn't even did you live at that point?
Damn, let me live.
Let me live, bro. One time,
fuck.
I have a line with my brother, just as a joke. Quick aside, a succubus, like basically like a seductress. You look at Homer's Iliad or the Odyssey, more in particular, where there's like a seductress, but like she's gonna kill you. It's like a harpy. It's like she'll have sex with you, but she's gonna
she's
kill
like
you.
A parasite.
It's like my line to say, or his line is, you just better deliver the goods. Like, you better give me a 10 out of 10
Make
experience,
it worth it,
and I'm fine to go. It's like I demand satisfaction. Like all I ask is a 10 out of 10 experience, and then you could kill me. Or Species.
That's fair.
Do you remember that movie?
No.
Oh,
I think I've seen the cover. I remember
Natasha,
seeing the VHS.
She was the original crush, where she's basically a hot human, and then she transforms into like a monstrous alien.
Kills you.
She has sex with you, and then she kills you as like an alien. But that's the line. You just better deliver the goods.
Was it Black Widows? Daddy Longlegs?
Well, Black Widows kill their male. A lot of insects, the female kills the male. I was going to say that.
That's messed up, bro.
So talking about mythology or just using the blood, I think that was viewed, by not some cultures, but at certain points in time as something to be youthful. It's just like for young boys. I think I was watching that show, the HBO show Rome. They made Augustus Octavius eat bull testicles to make make him more manly.
Yeah, testosterone.
Have more testosterone.
But people do that. Rocky Mountain oysters, they call them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it's a fried bull ball. I think it's super common.
There you go. It's super common.
I forgot what it's called.
How's it taste?
And this is showing. I never had it. This shows how non-Argentinian I actually am. But basically, we drink a lot of yerba mate down there, and it's basically just.
Yeah, what is that?
So it's just a tea that's literally Argentinian. It's spread out now. You can buy a commercialized version here, but originally it has tons of antioxidants and a bit of a certain type of caffeine. Maybe it's not even caffeine. It might be another stimulant. And gauchos in Argentina would drink on it so then they could last the long rides and the long hauls to herd the cattle or whatever. They literally drank tea and ate meat because that's all they had.
Yeah.
And so it's become a tradition now. It's almost even more so than like smoking here or maybe hookah in some other cultures where you would like sit down, maybe more so than communal, but they would do it like every other hour. You know, it's not like English tea time. Like it's every 2 hours, like, oh, mate, and everyone just sits down and shares. And so it's kind of this cup, round cup, almost think of a pear-shaped cup with an open top.
Got it.
With a metal straw on it. And at the bottom of the metal straw is the filter itself. So you have loose leaves in this cup.
Very cool.
The filter's on the straw, and you just pour hot water, sip, pass the water and the thing. But, long story short, my mother has a million of these things. I can't really remember the name, and that's why I'm a fake Argentinian. But we have one that's a bull ball.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's like hairy. It's hairy, and on one side you could see like where the other nut was. It's like rubbed, it's like chafed, but you couldn't tell. Like I could hand it to you right now.
So is it like solid, like it's solid to the touch, or is it like a leathery pouch almost?
So it feels like a leathery pouch. Because it's, I'm sure they treated it. So I could pass it to you right now, and you're just like, oh, that's cool, like fake fur, and you wouldn't know.
Yeah, That's. I was gonna say that that reminds me of the Mongols, like yak's milk and so forth.
Yeah. But or Africans even drinking cow milk, and because that's where all the nutrients are.
Yeah, and mixing that maybe a little bit blood. Going back to that, I want to talk. You said stress. I could be a lot of things. Keep in mind, guys, when we talk about these things, loose and formal conversation.
Fake facts, fake news.
Fake facts, number 103. And Alice can verify this. Alice, just look up. It's called not just stress, stress. So EU stress. So EUSTRESS.
European stress.
So that's a positive form of stress. I think it's
to like help you grow, maybe.
Greek. Yeah, so it's a positive stress you undergo that the net effect will make you better.
Like lifting weights.
Lifting weights would be a good example. Am I right?
Moderate or normal psychological stress interpreted as being beneficial.
Exactly.
So it makes sense
definition is moderate psychological stress that's interpreted as being beneficial towards you.
And here's the behind the scenes of.
I think that's
so. We're content creators, I guess. If you had to give us one title of our job, and we're also really good friends and business partners in multiple aspects. But last night, our boy Alice over here yelling us at the facts took a dope picture of me, and I had no idea what to caption it. I rambled. Omar helped me write the caption, but that's basically what I was talking about. Where I don't really like to travel. But if you guys follow me on anything, YouTube here, I guess, or Instagram, all I do is travel. And I'm forcing, I guess, which I didn't, I've never heard this term, but I'm forcing myself with EU stress?
Yeah, stress.
Stress.
I believe, I could be totally wrong.
Me stress, you stress.
Yeah,
you do you, me do me.
You guys.
And so I'm doing that basically because I know it'll help me grow in a positive manner, getting kind of outside of your comfort zone, which again, we don't want to be the cliche guys, but getting outside your comfort zone. Here is where growth is. Here is where not growth is.
Get uncomfortable.
Okay. I'm up at 3 a.m., you motherfucker. What you doing? Wake up, bitch.
Stay away from me,
waffle fries.
I want waffle fries. Yeah, I was going to say, so we talked a little bit about that. They also, there's a dude, it would have been great to have him on, that Nassim Taleb, where he talks about anti-fragile. So there's things, there's fragility, then there's anti-fragile. So things that gain from disorders. So you could throw a stress at someone. Being robust means you could throw some stress at someone and it's like, yeah, they could take it. Like they're resilient towards it. And then anti-fragile, it's kind of that concept of your stress where it's like, you throw something at me, I come back stronger, right? And that's like just the whole concept, I think, in general with life. You want to have a good balance of all those stressors, and you want to be able to manage them so you could handle whatever is being thrown at you, grow and become even better to handle even more. I think they have also shown that. I'm not sure if it's the general adaptation syndrome. I could be wrong. But again, that concept, same thing with training. Training is a great analogy for that, where you put your body under a certain amount of stress, you need to recover, then you can handle an even greater amount of stress. And I think that relates perfectly to aging. I was going to say maybe the final topic, because we have someone else coming on the podcast, a guest in probably about 15 minutes. But the last topic, we're talking about aging. This is sponsored by Viagra, guaranteed to keep you hard. And for the female audience, I
There's got to be female
There's
Viagra,
got to
right?
be something for you guys. We'll find it.
We don't know what happens down there yet, but
we've never experienced. Remember when we said like if you get killed before you've had sex, it's a bummer. That's why we can't die yet. That's why we can't die yet. But living forever. You know, it's eventually going to happen. And I named it this, and I'm sure it's been named something else before. But there will eventually be the last generation to die. Where they'll unlock our genes, and they'll be able to figure out ways of either replacing the cells or whatever, the mitochondria, a lot of different things, cellular replication, where we'll be able to live basically forever. So they'll extend life. Let's say the average life expectancy is 100 years. It'll go to 200 years, and then within that extra 100 years, they'll figure something out, and then it'll keep going.
I actually think that I think we'll go from 0 to infinite. Or from whatever, what's our average now? 80?
Yeah,
I think we're going to go that from infinite. I hear talks, and who knows, right? Because they always say, oh, we're only 50 years out from this. Like, who the fuck knows?
They always say that. Well, you know, the futurist Ray Kurzweil, I forget his name, but yeah, he's been saying like, yeah, it's super soon. It's going to happen. I'm like, dude.
So I don't know when, but what I think will happen even before we hack into mitochondria and genes, which I think we're slowly starting to do, right? Even with just over the last 10 years, people talking about water being more important and little things. I think there's going to be a big hop where I think they're already talking about somehow, which is kind of happened in movies, which isn't that bad of an indicator, right? If we look at past sci-fis from maybe 60s, 70s, 80s, some of those things, although off, have come true in a different way. Even our boy McFly riding around on a hoverboard. We don't have the hoverboard, but we have things like it. I think there was a real hoverboard. I saw a skateboarder riding.
So it basically ran off of magnets.
Yeah, but it was something, right? So what I think, I don't know a movie that has done this exact thing, but movies have handle this concept where they basically upload consciousness into a computer. And then once it's in a computer, you can perhaps upload it to whether it's a robot, a built, or another human form of some nature. And then you just transform body to body and body.
So that's called, Johnny Depp had a movie out recently, I think called Transcendence, that did deal with that. That's been in sci-fi for the longest period of time.
But I've heard that they're working on it.
Oh yeah, dude. No, it's going to happen. I think there's a few different things. I think one, I have to give a huge shout out to one of my favorite books of all time, Neuromancer. Everyone listening to this should read it. It's a cyberpunk novel, but basically there's somebody who's a space jockey who gets fried. He's a cyber jockey, and what that means is he's a hacker, but he gets fried on the job. But they keep him as a construct, so that means they take essentially his consciousness, putting it inside a computer, but is it really him? And so that's the question.
That's a way bigger question, going into religion and going to other things like who are we? Are we brain? Are we all of it together? Is there a soul within our brain, which is our consciousness? And who knows if there even is such thing as a consciousness per se?
You know what the big test for that would be, Mike? I think, according to Brian Greene, who has some great books, he had a great, it may have been on PBS, just about a space, us, humanity, the future, aliens, all sorts of things. But basically, the theory goes, or his concept, I believe, I could be misquoting this, is teleportation will be the sign if we have a consciousness or not. Because in order to teleport something, an object, you have to perfectly know all its information.
Right, and you'd have to know what and to know is a consciousness.
So, and to know every single cell in your body, you have to be able to read it, which means you have to be able to destroy it. So you delete every single part of your body and
put it somewhere else.
And replicate it. So then what is consciousness if you're taking everything apart and putting it back together?
Yeah, related but unrelated. This might be around the Shakespeare time. You might know actual number that I don't know. But something happened where someone, a philosopher perhaps, was dying. And the philosopher went to his friend and said, hey, I know I'm dying. At the end, I'm going to give you like 3 blinks or something. I wish I knew more of the story, but he basically told his friend to let you know that I'm still here when I'm not here, or that my consciousness is leaving me, my body's fine, or something of that nature. He said, I'm going to blink a certain amount of times or something as I'm dying to let you know I'm aware of where I'm going or what's happening. And he obviously did it. So his buddy's watching him die. He gives the code with his eyes, which I think he's trying to tell him that there is some kind of afterlife, or that there is a consciousness heading somewhere, whether you want to call it afterlife or maybe here, maybe that, plenty of people believe spirits are around us, whatever you want to fucking believe. I don't know, but maybe you go somewhere.
I believe in Interstellar. I believe in Coop. That's what I believe.
Multiple dimensions.
I believe in humanity.
I like Coop too.
Well, yeah, I'll just wrap
that robot was a little corny.
Tars?
Just how he moved and things threw me off a little bit. It reminded me of like, I know there's a guy in there like Barney.
Interstellar is beautiful.
I like the movie though. I love the movie, but the robot threw me.
Now the cops are coming back.
Time to go. Time to go. We're leaving.
Time to go, guys. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. This has been another edition of the Mama's Boys. Make sure to like us on iTunes.
Rating, review, and subscribe, my friends.
Yeah, and we'll be back every Tuesdays and Fridays. We out.
Bye.
Neuromancer.